Full disclosure, news and commentary number 1010. Woohoo! This last weekend was a huge weekend for Georgia wrestling. Next weekend, not as much. So it'll be interesting to see. In fact, I haven't seen really shows announced, though they're most definitely happening. This brings me to my first mini rant. First mini rant. Show reports are important, and we only have one group of note that did not have a report based on their show last weekend. We'll talk about that. But just as important, or actually, no, I'll say just as important, not more so, is you getting the announcements of your shows. GWH newsandnotes.blogspot.com. If your shows are not showing up there, then you're failing. Yeah. If you don't have promoters and people helping the promoters for various promotions, if you do not have a regular routine of putting your shows out to the Georgia wrestling news venues, then you're falling short of what you need to do. Yeah. That's the end of the first rant. Man, let's talk about the shows. Let's jump. Oh, by the way, APCW, where is your report? Get on the ball, fuckers. Get on the ball. Yeah. All right. Anarchy, saying they drew 100 plus. Very clever way to phrase it. 100 plus attendance. But good on them. Seems like they're advancing things forward. Seems like Matt Hankins and his crew are still a big deal. I saw Matt Hankins put out a video or two. All of these things make me happy. Yep. Viral Pro. Larry went to that show. Apparently torrential rainstorms, and they still drew 200. Viral Pro, who's probably still mad at me, but you should be happy because Larry likely went to your show as sort of a make good for you and I squabbling. So that's a good thing, right? You want Larry at your show. Great report. I think Larry's in fine form with his writing as of late. Larry, I thought, did a phenomenal job with the Southern Fried report. Best thing that he's written in a long time, but the Viral Pro one's really good. You guys need to check that stuff out. George, gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. There's a number of reports up there, and it's great to see. Larry went to 2 shows. He went to 2 shows as well. I'm going to talk about him. By the way, he's rant number 2, but we're not there yet. Georgia Premier got its report in on time. Fantastic news. They're saying 170 plus 40 kids, or that's what Rob is saying. It's a weird way to put the attendance. Folks, kids are fucking people too. Just put the goddamn full number. I don't fucking care how many kids. I guess if you're, but I'll say this. I'll go ahead and rant about Rob. His reports are getting better and better and better, and he has personal sort of things that he likes and does not like that now he uses as a factor, and that's good too. When Rob has particular things, like in the Georgia Premier Wrestling thing, he has a thing about wrestlers who are not verbal during their matches, who don't make noise to sell things, and he hates that, and he brings that up repeatedly, and that's good, because just as Larry's report makes guys better, I think Rob's can as well. Is being verbal important? Is having facial expressions important? It is invaluable. And so I like that Rob has a personal foible and a thing, and he grades accordingly. Rob also gave a grade lower than a B plus on a couple of occasions, which was nice to see. One including the Johnny Danger Matt Sells match, which I mean, Johnny Danger had his match. Of course, it's good to see him back, but I mean, he tweaked his ankle and got his nose broken. Again, going to my 10 things I hate about Georgia wrestling: wrestlers who don't prepare properly when making comebacks, and that means getting ring time. I'm not going to back off on that. Some people said that I was a little vicious in the 10 list, but I don't think I was at all. Yeah, it is a physical activity, and you, pro wrestlers, have an obligation to prepare properly. Yeah. Yeah, you can knock a little ring rust off before you get back in the ring. It helps. So that was Georgia Premier. WrestleMerica listing their crowd at 365 for their Legends show. By the way, the commentary tonight is going to feature something that could have made my top 10 things I hate about Georgia wrestling, but did not. But this last weekend was a reminder that maybe it should have made the list. So you can look forward to that commentary at the end. So WrestleMerica going full steam ahead. Apparently, their answer to Simon Sermon and Tracer X is just to keep them apart and have Simon Sermon work a program and put somebody else over. And Tracer X to be able to wrestle a match and win a match with the 360, like who gives a fuck? And see who's right. I think it's an interesting competition that's not a direct competition. Is Tracer X's way of doing a spot fest match going to get him over? Or is Simon Sermon going to take somebody else and get them over? Which one is going to work first? Stay tuned here so I can let you know, but I can probably fucking guess who's going to win that one. One fall, by the way, Rob was at this one. And I like that Rob brought up, one, he consistently brings up the attendance. In one fall's case, it was 60, but also the conditions of the building and how the chairs set up affected that. Look, he's beginning to be able to paint a picture with his reports, which is phenomenal. Yeah. He said, yeah, they only had 60, but the way that it's set up, that makes it pretty much near a sellout for them, which is smart. It tells me something about the one fall promoters and the people running that and how they're smart they are, and how the conditions in the gym and how uncomfortable they were and how that affects things. We've seen this before, and it sort of harkens back to what affects attendance in the summer, which Gary Lamb pointed out in his show, which is awesome. I like being answered to and responded to directly or indirectly. Of course, it's fun. But we'll get to the Southern Honor Report in a second. But when the heat really affects things, especially in the Landmark more than any other group is sort of the measuring stick of how inclement weather or just uncomfortable weather can affect their attendance. I don't think that applies to every group. Some of the groups have air conditioning and things like that. But we shall see what's going to happen as these we've seen the rain affect a show with Viral Pro, and we'll see how the heat affects things. We'll see. Southern Honor strong with 450, and Larry wrote a great report for them. They've got to be flying high and got to be happy. I think it's funny. The funny rant number 2 is Southern Honor bucking currently for their referee to be referee of the year. Boy, they are trying to sweep all those awards, and to some they may find that infuriating that they're doing that. I don't think it's infuriating at all, lest we forget whenever it's a promotion's year, right? Ooh, getting messages as we speak at 5:49 in the morning. Jumping Jesus on a pogo stick. Lest we forget the year that Rampage really had their run. They even did the unthinkable, which is Charlie Cash. Charlie Cash won Manager of the Year over Jeff G. Bailey when Jeff was in the midst of doing his great stuff, which just goes to show how much it was their year. So Southern Honor bucking for, because people wrote me about that, really upset that Southern Honor was making an obvious play to have their referee win Referee of the Year, even though he doesn't go a lot of other places and prominent shows, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck ever, man. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to try to win. And I don't begrudge them. Did Dylan put himself back in contention for Booker of the Year? I think absolutely. It's undeniable. Yeah. Corey Hollis hurt himself but still is wrestling. Corey Hollis is actually a big reason I'm going to do the next plist that I'm going to do. Obviously, I came out hot out the box with 10 Things I Hate About Georgia Wrestling. Um, but here's a couple of news items. One of them, Hollis is wrestling hurt, and it has inspired me. Inspired me how? It's inspired me to do this. My next top 10 list is going to be who are the top 10 wrestlers in the state of Georgia as of, a couple of days from now. If you have thoughts on that, express them to me. You may be able to sway me. My list is coming together as we speak, but I think that's going to be interesting for everybody. It's something that hasn't been done in a long time, not to my memory. Other bits of wrestling news, and then we'll get right back into the commentary. Holy shit, maybe this video will be 20 minutes or less. Won't that be exciting for everybody? I hope so. By the way, University of Hawaii. Do I miss them being called the Rainbow Warriors? I still do. I still hold on to that. Mm-hmm. By the way, still continuing to lose weight. My workout's awesome. And I feel good. And people have been commenting that I look very good. And that's wonderful. My hair does not, because again, it's early in the morning and workout and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I'm feeling good about myself. I'm going to have to tan my arms somehow. But yeah, I should not be working out and watching what I eat. I shouldn't be working out harder and watching what I eat more than people who are currently wrestling. Unless you were a fat shit and that's part of your deal. I get that too. Brad Cash winding it up. And it's fun to see him sort of reveling in his own career. That sounds like an insult. It's not. Brad Cash certainly came on in the Georgia scene like a storm. And he's getting out. And he got engaged after his match with Huckabee, and best of luck to you, Brad Cash. Boy, you made an impression on people who are hard to impress. Jeff G. Bailey certainly thought a lot of you. At one point, certainly Matt Hankins does as well. And those are a couple guys that I trust implicitly, and they think you're wonderful. So, ergo, I think you're wonderful. Congratulations to Brad Cash. Last bit of news before we get to the commentary. Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment reboot happening July 7th on a Sunday at some building I've never fucking heard of. We'll see how it goes this time around. I hope they get the word out, because beyond that news piece on Georgia wrestling history, I haven't seen a lot. I haven't seen the boys banding about that they're going to be on the card. I haven't seen them getting the word out. Fuck Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Rant number 3, or 2 or 4, I don't know. Doesn't matter at this point. Get the fucking word out. Hustle. I don't know who's the promoter for Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment anymore. Josh Wheeler has stepped away, but they need to get the word out because they do a shit job. There was a time where people prominent in the Georgia wrestling scene would talk to me and go like, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment does such a great job. I see their stuff on Twitter all the time, and they've got a lot of Twitter buzz and twit, but I don't see shit anymore. And I go out of my way to look to see what they're promoting. They're not promoting worth a damn. July 7th probably feels to them like, it's quite a ways away. Not for you, it's not. If you draw 50 people or less in that thing, the reboot is a failure and is an aborted launch. And you don't want an aborted anything in Georgia right now. Inappropriate joke. Commentary. I had my top 10 list of things I did not like or hated in Georgia wrestling. I'm going to run and go get that now. Crap in a hat. Where'd I put it? Oh, well, crap. I only have my crude notes. I want to go where the people are. So 10 was Battle Royals, right? 9 are... No. crap. There's a bunch of things on there. I hate promoters, and I hate your posters, and I hate your silly tribes, and I hate the rumbles, and I hate forcing moments that should be organic. And I hate people who love the title more than the titles that you get, more than the responsibility tied to that title. I hate the Southern bullshit that I think gets in the way and demeans products, and hate the boys and how they act and don't take a more active hand into lifting Georgia wrestling up, right? That was the gist. So in this commentary, what do I hate that could have made the list and did not, but I think warrants mention right here? I hate you motherfuckers naming every one of your shows. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. I'm going to put a fine point on it. What's the name of PCW's biggest show of the year? Even now, when we're far removed from PCW even running shows. Sacred Ground. Name some of Anarchy's biggest shows of the year. Immediately, probably Hardcore Hell popped immediately into your head. If not other shows, but certainly Hardcore Hell. What is Southern Fried's biggest show of the year? It's Shindig. And we all know that. Here's an interesting question now. Thinking caps on, and I'm not saying everybody won't be able to answer this, but most people won't. The show where Southern Honor drew 1,000 was called... Exactly. But Southern Honor's last show, which did shockingly well, probably had 500 people plus, was called... You don't know. Viral Pro presents... We don't know. Stop naming every fucking show. Okay? I know ECW did it to an extent, and that was a big, huge, hot thing. There was a time... I think you can get away with naming one show a season and making it a big deal. It's what Anarchy / Wildside did so well. I was a big proponent of just having one huge show of the year that you built around. And that was, of course, Sacred Ground, but then the bigger events kind of got a thing of their own, right? The Revolutionary War Games show, or as it was usually dubbed, the July 4th show. Here's my point. Would it not be more effective to just have shows? Anarchy calls them TV tapings, right? The ones that are unnamed, which is a double-edged sword, right? There's a time where TV taping really had an impact. I get it. And there's a time where, but then it just became sort of a tell of, these are the shows that don't matter leading up to the one that does, which affected them crowd-wise and things like that. Not so much anymore, though. It's amazing what having a good, consistent show does. Naming every one of your shows is indulgent fucking nonsense. Atlanta Entertainment used to name all of their shows, and it just became a point of, the only thing it did was make people have jokes about them. Remember Omar is Coming? It's like, oh, aren't we cool? We're naming some shit after The Wire, which appealed to whoever. And Velvet Jones, who, by the way, I'm going to be... when I decided to do the review show at the end of this week, because there's a couple of things coming out that I want to review. And I'm going to review Velvet Jones' scenes in the movie that he did. I'm actually very excited to do that in a Be Kind review, too. But Velvet Jones famously snapped back and won that fucking flame war. Remember when flame wars were a thing? Now they probably call them like troll fights or whatever the fuck. But Omar's Coming was the name of the show, and Velvet Jones made that shit famous by going, Omar is coming, but apparently nobody else did. Fucking brutal as fuck. Naming every show. Why do I keep harping on this? I get that Southern Honor only does one show a month, so for them, every one is they want to make as big a deal as possible. I'm not ignorant to that. But I'll just put it like this. When everything is special, nothing is. And naming every show is laziness. And I think it's attaching a value to it that doesn't exist. I saw Revival Pro was going to have the number 4 of some show. Like, it's like having a wrestling card where everybody's booked 50-50. Then nothing gets over. There's a time where the WWF had 4 major pay-per-views of the year, and not by coincidence that those are the ones that people feel the most kinship to, right? Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Did it get better when they had more pay-per-views and had to name them? And are some of the names of the pay-per-views in the last few years just absolutely fucking ridiculous because they're naming them? Does anybody really get excited for what the fuck ever? I can't even think of half of them, right? Point being this. Concentrate on your promotion. Concentrate on the date of the show, which could actually help people remember your show and remember to come to it on a certain date. And worry less about having to come up with name after name. Redemption, Christmas Chaos, Battle with Santa Claus, Candy Cane Fuck, or whatever. You don't have to name every show. I had the instinct once to do that way back when. A little trip back in the fucking time machine when we started doing shows in the gym at WWA 4 way back when. Yes, I started that. And we did the shows every time as a joke, making fun of promotions, because even way back then promotions were already doing it and they were naming every one of their shows. I would name the show based on the closest national holiday that was ridiculous. So if it was like National Flag Day, or if it was I'm trying to remember some of them, they were ridiculous. National Popsicle Day, you know how every day there's some kind of thing you're supposed to celebrate, Cupcake Day or whatever. I would have like the 2 days before National Popsicle Day Massacre, and I always called them a massacre because I thought that was funny and it was very wrestling. But that was done tongue-in-cheek, ironical. Yeah. Focus less about things that don't matter to emphasize the things that do. Stop trying to make everything equally special and focus on making your product actually special. Take that for what it is. Naming every show is lame as fuck. And this has been Full Disclosure News and Commentary number 10. We did not have a tipping point this week. Larry and I just decided to hold off. I think I'm going to think of another special event one. I think that will help a lot. And I think I have a good one in mind. I'm going to run it by Larry, but hopefully we will be back next Tuesday with it. I have a Be Kind review to put out soon. I know that. I'm going to get that done. Be Kind review. Look for that to come out soon. And then a list of the top 10 wrestlers in the state of Georgia. I'm excited. And thank you, as always, for watching and listening.